Hello everyone and welcome back to Creation Myths. Today we're going to take a look at a recent video put out on an AIG affiliated, I think they're from AIG, YouTube channel / podcast featuring Dr. Nathaniel Jeanson, in which Nathaniel Jeanson is just lying about college. So let's take a look at this. Here is the video in question. You can see the thumbnail. It says, "All students need to hear this." And the title is Why You Should Not Be Persuaded by Evolutionary Ideas. And this is on the channel Zero Compromise, which features as the host some AIG people. So I think this is an AIG affiliated, AIG produced thing as far as I can tell. So there's a whole lot going on in this video. Most of it's the standard Nathaniel Jeanson nonsense. But I want to point out this one little clip. Take a listen to this little bit.
I'm an old man now in a sense. So much has changed in the college campus. It's even worse than it was. Just to give one more example, I remember watching God's Not Dead with my dad. He's like, "Man, they made that guy look bad." I'm like, "No, Dad, that's what the professors are like. It is that bad in college. It's even worse now than what I experienced." So there is a trial by fire when you go. It's foolish to think I'm just going to handle it. Don't be foolish. I said that as an old man, 44, because the pressures are so intense.
Now, if you're not familiar, Dr. Jeanson is referring to this movie, God's Not Dead, from 2014, featuring a Christian college student who butts heads with an atheist philosophy professor. It is absurd, overacted, completely ridiculous. It is like a right-wing fever dream of what hostile college environments are like for Christians. It's completely disconnected from reality, just completely bonkers.
Mr. Radisson, this is Philosophy 150. I would like to bypass senseless debate altogether and jump to the conclusion, which every sophomore is already aware of: there is no God. All that I require from each of you is that you fill in the papers I've just given you with three little words: God is dead. If you cannot bring yourself to admit that God is dead, then you will need to defend the antithesis. If you think you're smarter than me, do not try to humiliate me in front of my students. In that classroom, there is a God. I'm him.
As somebody who has spent a lot of time on college campuses in their adulthood, let me tell you, the picture presented in God's Not Dead is nothing like what a college campus is like. Just straight up, that's not how college classes, college faculty, it's just completely disconnected from reality. Now, a really interesting aspect of this is that one of the hosts of this show is Patricia Angler. A couple of years ago, she came out with this book, Prepare to Thrive, a survival guide for Christian students, in which she paints a very similar picture of college life for Christians to what Dr. Jeanson just mentioned. Also extremely dishonest in terms of like what science classes are actually like and what the purpose of biology classes or even evolution classes are actually like. In this book, she presents like the purpose of an evolution class as to provide evidence for evolution. That's not the point of an evolution class. The point of a class in evolution is to teach students the mechanisms of evolution, how evolution works, the principles of evolution, how we can learn about evolution. That's the point. We don't just like provide a laundry list of here's how we know evolution is true. It's just completely, again, disconnected from the reality of what an actual secular college education is like. These representations are nothing like actual college classes, and I want to be very clear about this. Patricia Angler, Nathaniel Jeanson, they have experience with actual secular college classes. They're lying. And the reason they're lying is to scare their audience away from a secular college education, so they aren't exposed to those dangerous outside ideas that might lead people astray. The goal here is to keep their people siloed in their echo chamber so they're not exposed to those outside ideas. That is what's going on here. To show you just how wrong this is, I'm going to show you everything I present on the topic of creationism across all of my classes. And to be clear, I teach 2 classes in general biology every year, fall and spring, Gen Bio 1, Gen Bio 2. I also teach 2 evolution classes every summer, a a 200 level evolution class for majors in evolution, and a 100 level course that's designed to be an intro course for non-majors. So it's just kind of a life science course that other majors can take so that they can fulfill that requirement. Across those 4 courses, I'm going to show you right here everything that I talk about that mentions creationism in those classes. So here is the only mention of creationism in my 200 level evolution course. This slide, Evolution Education in the US, appears within the first half hour of class on the first day of class. It's just an overview of the history of evolution education in the United States and the various notable trials that have taken place. That's it. We just go through this briefly. I kind of mentioned, I don't evaluate the students on this. There's no assessment related to this. This is just FYI, this has been a fraught thing in the United States in particular. And then we move on, and it never comes up again. That's it. That's it across all of my courses. There's no mention of creationism in my general biology classes, General Bio 1 or General Bio 2. And there's no mention of creationism in my 100 level evolution course for non-majors. It just never comes up. The reason it never comes up in any of these courses is it's not relevant. It has nothing to do with anything I'm teaching, so it never gets mentioned, not even once. The fact is, most biologists never mention creationism, never think about creationism, or even realize that creationism is still a thing that's popular in this slice of the population. If you're in the field of evolutionary biology and you bring up creationism to your colleagues, you get funny looks. You get even funnier looks if you mention that you engage with creationists. The reason for this is that creationism is simply not relevant to the practice of evolutionary biology, nor to the teaching of evolutionary biology. So it just never comes up, and it's not something people have in their minds as they go about these activities. This, what I'm about to show you, is basically how most of evolutionary biology treats creationism.
I don't think about you at all.
That's really it. That's the size of it. In general, evolutionary biologists, college educators, college faculty, we never think about creationism. It never comes up because it's simply not relevant to any of the things we do in our professional lives. That's just the truth. Creationists like Nathaniel Jeanson, who say otherwise, who say that college courses are hostile to Christians, it's worse than God's Not Dead, they are lying to their audience. And I want to be clear, they are lying to their audience, as I have pointed out before, because they want their audience to stay in the echo chamber. They are afraid that if their audience leaves the echo chamber and goes into one of these dangerous college classes, they might find other things that they've been lied to about, and that might cause them to leave the faith altogether. So the strategy is to scare their audience into avoiding those situations altogether. That's what the play is here. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to hit like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and as always, don't get fooled.